Hey, what is going on, crypto people? It is the Crypto Siege with another day in the life and the crazy life that is the digital asset space. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to each and every one of you. This is a crazy time. It's a crazy time to be an early adopter in this new asset class that is a digital asset space. Interestingly enough, it's crazy for some, and for others, this is the most opportunistic time in crypto right now, because the market is absolutely bleeding. Less than $1 trillion in the total cryptocurrency market cap. I do believe, listen, it is 12:36 Central Time. I am going to be recording this video while the Fed and Powell announces what they're going to do in terms of the basis points, whether it's going to be 50 or 75. But this video is too important. We're going to talk about Celsius Network. We're going to talk about personal responsibility. A lot of great stuff coming from John Deaton and with him and J.W. Barrett and Jeremy Hogan, Ellen Tourette. What they did on the channel yesterday on Crypto Law was really great stuff. John did an excellent job. We're going to share a couple of videos from that. So that's important. The market is doing what the market does. That's important. But the thing is going on with the most important thing is what's going on with Celsius Network right now, because this will affect the crypto market as a whole. This will open the door even wider, if you will, for regulators to come in. I do think, and I'm going to say this now before I forget, how is it, if the rumors are true about Celsius Network, how is it that the SEC went into the front doors of Celsius Network not even 90 days ago and allowed them to continue to operate? If the rumors are true, 90 days ago, if the rumors are true, Celsius would have been told they needed to shut down and they need to have told people to take their assets off the exchange, because they don't have that. They're not in a position to cover assets if there was a quote unquote bank run. How is it the Celsius Network was, by the SEC, was allowed to continue to operate if the rumors of insolvency? So you can't tell me that 2 days ago, or June 13th or June 9th, whatever it was, June 9th, Celsius was insolvent, and in May they weren't. In April they weren't. How different was the market in May than it is in June? How different is the market in April? Is it that significantly different in April, or have we been moving sideways on Bitcoin from about 21,000 to about 29,000 for 3 or 4, if not longer, months? How did the SEC miss this if in fact Celsius is insolvent? And it's looking more and more like that. And I'm going to share some stuff. I just think, yeah, we could, people can try this whole class action lawsuit stuff. They can try it, but what about the SEC? What about the people that were supposed to protect retail investors? What happened? Where was the alarm? I found it, I said it on this channel several times. I found it interesting that there was no report from the SEC or from Celsius about a fine. Nothing. Not a peep. Nothing. When's the last time you've heard of the SEC going in and doing something against a platform, a formal investigation, and you don't hear anything? Nothing. Fine. Nothing. What? SEC, Celsius redid their platform. They had to do a cuss and earn. They had to take out non-accredited investors from being able to earn. No warning flags? Less than 90 days ago? I'm pretty sure it's less than 90 days ago. How does that add up? And we're also going to talk about personal responsibility. because there is a prominent YouTuber out there who's not taking personal responsibility for his actions. I did a video yesterday, day before. I said, my heart bleeds for those as a former ambassador for Celsius that may not have access to their crypto right now. That was me, right? That was me. And I would have continued to be an ambassador, an official capacity, if I hadn't got the, the beer cold and I missed a deadline to, I don't know what it would be, resubmit my application, I guess. I don't know. They went to some new procedure and I missed that because I had the beer cold. And so my heart goes out to those who right now can't get access. I know of several people right now who got connected to Celsius in large part because of me doing videos on that platform. And my heart bleeds for them. I'm in the same situation right now as them. But I am taking personal responsibility for not only being an ambassador for Celsius, but also having been an ambassador for Celsius, but also someone who participated on the platform in both depositing my crypto there and borrowing against it, currently in a loan on this platform. And me and Miss Crypto Seeds had a very, 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 very long talk, and we have written it off. We have written it off. It's gone. And it is, for my XRP fams and family, it is the majority of our XRP. The majority. And we have written it off. Mentally, we've written it off. And the capital that we have, we're not going to deploy it there in Celsius. We're not going to do it. It's too great of a risk for the potential reward. And the reward is minimal. In other words, the reward is not likely. There's a higher chance of not getting the reward as opposed to getting the reward. So mentally, we have to write it off and begin anew. Right, and we were blessed to be in the 1%. Well, whatever. We're in a 1% at least in holdings, at least the 1% as an XRP holder, and we have to write it off. We have to write it off and mentally check it off. It's done. And my guy Solomon knows. I think he's probably the only guy actually shared how much XRP we had, right? And so we write it off. And we take personal responsibility and we begin anew. There is a YouTuber, a prominent YouTuber, who is not taking that same approach. Right? He's not taking that same approach. And I'm going to share who it is, who is literally out there on Twitter blaming Celsius and Alice Mashinsky for his decisions, for his own personal decisions. And I'm going to share that with you in this video as well. It's time to take personal responsibility. It's time to take personal responsibility. And this will be a second L for us. This will be a second major L for the Crypto Seekers Home. And both involving Celsius. But we're not blaming Celsius. We're going to take personal responsibility and move on from this. And so we're going to share that as well. So, sorry for the rant there. Guys, listen, this is your XRP Ripple daily news in around 0 to 10 minutes. Let's go with the market, man, because the market, holy moly, this market is doing what the market does. Wow. It's not looking great for Alex Mashinsky right now on Celsius Network. It's not, I mean, we haven't even got it's not even 2 o'clock Eastern, 1 p.m. Central yet. And the market is tanking. And I know it is based upon this news, this potential news coming out, without question, has to be. Bitcoin dominance is at 42.7%. Bitcoin blockchain backer did a video yesterday, or no, video early this morning actually, and said he found it very, very interesting that the Bitcoin dominance is going down. It's actually under 44%. It's at 42.7%. He said he's never seen anything like where this dominance going down like that, where the alts haven't at least outperform Bitcoin and Ethereum. Is it going to go sideways like this for a while? And then the also going to take off, or is it not going to happen? or does the powers that be, the Black Rocks and the Citadels of this world, have control of this market? Don't sleep on that. You guys, you can't sleep on it. The BlackRock has a speed dial number for the Federal Reserve, for the POTUS office, speed dial. Right? There is no waiting list for BlackRock to get into the doors and have access to this financial market. The POTUS, the federal central banks, it don't matter. They got a speed dial, so do not sleep on that. BlackRock and Citadel and whoever else, they can say whatever they want, on a tweet on Twitter. Do not sleep on that. So in any case, the total cryptocurrency market cap is 924 billion. It's down 7% on a 7 day. It's 924 billion. Bitcoin is at $20,685. Ethereum is at $1,079. XRP is at 30.5 cents. The market is bleeding. There's double figure greens everywhere. Ethereum is down 40% on the 7 day. Bitcoin is down 33% on the 7 day. Again, blockchain backers, like the video today was pretty much the dominance with Bitcoin is very, very interesting. With Bitcoin and Ethereum, it's very curious to see that it's going down. Generally, historically, when the dominance for Bitcoin and Ethereum goes down, the alts go the other direction. They go up. But how much will they go up? Will they, to say that they'll outperform Bitcoin and Ethereum is cool, but how much? Are we going to get 2017 and 2018 bull run numbers? That yet to remain to be seen. But guys, the market is doing what the market, I don't even know where to begin to talk about this madness. I'll go on and I'll first, you guys, I'm telling you, you're going to want to know who this YouTuber is and the complaining. You're going to want to know what's going on in Celsius right now so that you can mentally prepare for what's going on. So you can mentally prepare. And if you're in a position like me in the Crypto Seizures home, my heart goes out to you. I hope that you're emotionally and mentally able to deal with it. And again, for us, we had a talk. We've written it off. We've taken the L, and we're going to continue to reaccumulate. We're not going to be beholden to some hope that something happens thing. Mentally, we got to be able to push on and move forward. So that's what we're doing in the Crypto Seizures home. Look, I mean, it's just double figure reds every freaking where, like unfreaking believable. It's just reds everywhere in the market, right? So John E. D. in that pit bull, for the XRP community did like an AMA, if you will, or big time, AMA, I guess you could say. His guests were Eleanor Terrett, J.W. Verrett, who was a former SEC advisor. I forgot to mention the guy from Empower Oversight. I think it's Jason Foster and Jeremy Hogan. And it was a great interview. You guys make sure you go check out Crypto Law TV on YouTube. Subscribe to the channel and check it out. But there's a couple of videos that, and I wanted to put one more on here. Go check out my Twitter at crypto_siege, at crypto_siege to check these videos out. But for me, this Bill Hinman, this William Hinman thing, like it's over. Without questioning, him and his buddies and his pals are figuring out a way to deal with the future. I believe the future inquiry by the United States Congress. I just feel like the American people are not going to let this go. And if crypto people, if the digital chambers of commerce of the world and the blockchain associations of the world let this go and don't push for this, that will speak volumes. It's bad enough that they have not spoken up about the SEC versus Ripple lawsuit yet. If the Chamber of Commerce, the Digital Chamber of Commerce, and the blockchain associations, if they don't pick this up and look into this and realize what has happened because of it, this will prove whether or not they are in the pockets of Bitcoin and Ethereum. I'm telling you, right? Now, take a listen to this.
Interesting. That's a very, I'm not saying that there's, like Charlie and I always say, I'm not saying that there is any kind of corruption here. Charlie says confluence doesn't equal causation. But I will say, after many months of investigating it and writing about it, it's clear that there are many conflicts of interest here. And it's not just Bill Hinman, but Bill Hinman has, as it would turn out, as it appears from these documents that Jason and Empower have turned over, have gotten for us, it's pretty glaring, especially with the communications with Simpson and Thatcher. I will say, when I first saw that, I kind of thought, like maybe these meetings with his friend from Simpson and Thatcher, Josh Bonney, could be very casual, just going out to lunch, just catching up as friends. We don't know their, personal background together. We don't know if they were talking business or if they weren't. But you have to go back and look at the emails from.
And remember that it doesn't matter if they were talking personal business or not. Remember, the people from the ethics committee, the ethics division, told William Hinman flat out, you cannot meet with Simpson Thatcher in any way, shape, form, or fashion as an employee at the SEC. You can't do it. There's a conflict of interest there. You will be violating our rules and ethics here at the SEC. And this dude said, cool. I'll let you know when I'm done meeting with Simpson and Thatcher. That's essentially what he said. He just ignored it. I'll take my chances. It's essentially what he said.
The compliance office saying, Bill, you have a financial interest in this company and you cannot have any meetings with them. So that to me is just very, that's glaring. And, I know Jason has some thoughts on it as well, but there's lots of things going on here. And I feel like there's more that comes out every day. And I'm personally interested to see what other documents the SEC is going to turn over, because, with the Freedom of Information Acts, we are, on the road to something pretty big here.
All right, I want to bring Jason in. And Jason, Ellie alluded to something. She alluded to that you've learned and others have learned that through the FOIA request that you issued and have litigated, that it was determined that this wasn't a regular pension that Bill Hinman was receiving, but he was an active, ongoing profit-sharing partner, which meant the better the firm did that same time, simultaneously, that he's an officer at the SEC and a government employee, that he has a ongoing financial interest. Is that my understanding correct?
Yeah, that's what we learned from the documents when we, when we finally got the SEC to actually start turning them over, which of course we weren't able to do until after we filed our lawsuit.
To me, that's the nail in the coffin, right? Empire Oversight's not going to let this go, right? What Bill Hinman and his partners or wherever, what they're relying on is their ability to fight this because they got the money and the power and the influence to fight Jason and Empire Oversight. And this is what I'm saying. If the Digital Chamber of Commerce, if the Blockchain Association, if we just sit back and don't reach out to our congressmen about the blatant in your face the middle finger to you and I that William Hinman showed, the next person coming along will do the same thing. That's what this is about. Empire Oversight, Jason, that's just his history and background, and exposing government, this public government corruption and manipulation of us, the retail investor, the regular average Joe and Jane out there in the street. These blatant, middle finger to you that I'm going to do what I had to do for me and my family. Well, that's what William Hinman said. John Deaton said it was an ongoing, he had an ongoing interest in seeing Simpson Thatcher do well. He was a partner, ongoing partner. It wasn't a pension like they tried to put it off as. And he gave a middle finger to us and gave Ethereum this free pass for his personal financial gain. And if it ain't Ethereum, what other digital asset will be next when someone else takes William Hinman's spot on the DL, do it quietly, some other kind of person comes in, who are they going to try to give a free pass to? The bottom line is, it doesn't matter who it is, there should not be a free pass given to, not to Ripple or XRP or Ethereum or Cardano or anyone else. It should be, the market should be a level playing field for everybody to participate on a level playing field. And if we don't shout from the rooftops about it, if we don't let our local representatives know about this sham, they're going to get over it. At least we should expect, at least the minimum is the IG to look into, at the SEC to look into these allegations. At a minimum, we want to see William Hinman and his attorney in court, not in court, but before Congress. Right? Before Congress. There's a prominent YouTuber out here calling for a class action lawsuit against Celsius Network, and Celsius Network has done all kinds of good things for this ecosystem in the retail investor. And I'm going to get into what they did and the behaviors that they did and how it affects people on that platform later. But that's the nail in the coffin to me. This video right here, an ongoing and
interesting. That's a very, that
incentive, if you will, to make sure that Simpson Thatcher does well. And they invested, they were part of Ethereum Alliance, and they invested heavily in Bitcoin and Ethereum. It's just, it is not a great look. Let's take a listen to this one here that John did. John is real unnatural at doing an interview. I said, excellent job, brother. You are a natural. Thanks, Jeremy Hogan and JW Barrett as well. So let's take a listen.
He didn't do more.
Is this, JW just mentioned Hester Peirce is safe harbor. And this is the 4th year anniversary, show on this speech. Instead of giving this speech, why didn't they just adopt that safe harbor where it said you have 3 to 5 years to meet these markers? And hey, Ripple, if you don't meet these markers, or ETH, you don't meet these markers, then you have to register. If you do, it is, great. And you go on and you're sufficiently decentralized or whatever language. Why was that not adopted under Chairman Clayton? He had the votes. He had Elad Roisman and he had Hester Peirce. I don't know. Do you know the answer to that question?
I got to pass that one to JW. I don't know. I mean, obviously, I think you're going to talk more about this later, but, obviously I think that it's come to be that we know now that Mr. Hinman probably had some ulterior motives for that speech, maybe jumped the gun and didn't have the backing that maybe he needed in order to really get the commissioner's views out there. But I don't know.
JW, any thoughts? I know you have a hard stop soon.
Sure. I know Jay a long time. I disagreed with him on his approach to crypto. Believe me, I had a lot of private conversations with him during the ICO era where I said, I don't like some things happening in some of these ICOs. I love to get a crypto-specific regulatory regime. Hester's safe harbor hadn't been out yet. I wish it had. I would have been arguing for that. But I had a lot of tough conversations with him because it was the one area where I just glaringly disagreed with him. I don't know Hinman. I don't know what Hinman was about, so I can't tell you that. I think Jay's heart was in the right place. I don't think he had any nefarious intent. I think he was just risk averse. It was a new thing, and he was a classic regulation guy, and he didn't want to try anything new. And it was a mistake, and it was the wrong decision. I don't think there was anything unethical about him. I just don't know Bill. I mean, I don't like the optics of what happened here. What I've seen so far from what In Power has taken out, it seemed like he didn't comply with the ethics requirements, and that's a problem. I don't think that's on Jay. I think that's on Bill. I don't know why. I don't know why he didn't do more. Give us the guidance and the clarity that we need. I wish they had.
Is this?
It's great stuff right there. Great stuff, JW Barrett and Jeremy Hogan. We thank you so much. Thank you so much for taking your time, energy, and resources to hang out with the community and share and just give and give and give. We're so blessed to have you guys. John Deaton, Jeremy Hogan, JW Barrett, Fred Dispoli, Jimmy James Filan, Bill, the attorney. I mean, we're just so blessed to have you guys. And we just want to let you know that we appreciate everything that you do. So Jimmy James put this out here as well. The court orders the SEC to provide to the court by June 16th, 10 additional documents for in-camera review to assist the court with its decision regarding the SEC's claims of attorney-client privilege in connection with the Hinman speech. I do think the wording in here is interesting. I don't think it's going to matter what they turn over, because obviously they turned over their 10 best already, right? They've already turned over their 10 best documents to help their case. And so she's giving them a shot to turn over some more, but it ain't going to matter. It's not going to matter. To me, this is dotting the I's and crosses the T's on Judge Netburn's part. Yuck, I'm going to give you every chance. I pretty much made up my mind, but I'm going to give you every chance to change my mind. I'm going to give you every opportunity to change my mind. That's what this says to me. The court previously permitted the SEC to submit 10 exemplar documents for in-camera review in connection with this motion for partial reconsideration. On the basis of the attorney-client privilege, the SEC seeks to withhold these and other documents described in attachment 1, motion for whatever, in connection, whatever, to facilitate the court's review of the communications to which the SEC claims the attorney-client privilege applies by June 16th. The SEC, by June 16th, that's tomorrow, the SEC may submit 10 additional documents listed in the attachment, right? That's to me is saying, look, to me, Judge Netburn is saying, I've made up my mind, but I will give you an opportunity to provide more documentation if you like. I want to be able to say that I gave you every shot to change my mind. That's what this is. And it's not a good look, because I don't think it's going to make absolutely any difference at all. So here's the deal here. And I want to start with, I think I want to end with personal responsibility, and I'm going to kind of share where I believe Celsius is right now, and the only thing that is left to do. Let's start with how they got themselves in this situation, because I think that's important to share here. Let's see, because there's this guy here, his name is John Woo, kind of laid it out. And he spells out how they got themselves in trouble on, he did an interview. Was it CNBC? Where is this thing at? There it is right here. What is that? CoinDesk. He spoke on CoinDesk here. It says the crypto market cap dips below $1 trillion as SEC enters a bear market. Aztecs, John Woo, and Fellowship Financial Group President Michael Eastman join all about Bitcoin. So they're talking here about where El Salvador is now in its position. In fact, because they bought some Bitcoin, and then they're going to get into the Celsius network.
Celsius appears to have paid off 20 in the last few days and nearly 75% so far this year. Meanwhile, with the market crash, El Salvador is down $52 million on its Bitcoin bet. The country has made $104 million in investments in the cryptocurrency since it made Bitcoin legal tender last September. And finally, Celsius appears to have paid off $28 million of its outstanding loan on Maker, a decentralized finance protocol.
On Maker, they paid $20 million. Okay, Celsius working as quickly as possible and will share information as and when it becomes appropriate. Acting in the interest of our community remains our top priority. So they paid $20 million, but it's like $1 billion loan. So
protocol that lends out DAI, a stablecoin. The firm appears to have an additional $250 million outstanding on its Bitcoin collateralized loan. The beleaguered crypto lending platform has halted withdrawals since Sunday evening, citing extreme market conditions. And joining us now to discuss is Jonathan Wu, who leads growth at Aztec Network, a privacy-focused layer 2 protocol on Ethereum. Hi, John. Thanks so much for joining us. So you say that Celsius appears insolvent. really good. You've been really good at parsing out the situation at Celsius. So perhaps you can begin by just walking us through, especially for the folks who don't know about Celsius out there, on what led to its present situation where it has halted withdrawals.
Yeah, Celsius you can think of as a fintech wrapper for DeFi. And so what they have done to get themselves into this pickle is by collecting ETH from their customers and investors and investing them in high yield return assets. One of those assets is something called STETH, staked ETH. The staked ETH is actually an ETH derivative, and it is a representation of ETH that's been staked into the ETH beacon chain.
Come on, laptop. Don't fail me now.
They've also staked a bunch of their ETH directly into the beacon change before the merge, which will initiate Ethereum's transition to a proof of stake network. Now, unfortunately, staking directly or purchasing a staking derivative means that Celsius is having a very hard time converting back to ETH and making folks who want withdrawals and redemptions whole again. And so that's part of the reason they've had to pause withdrawals, is because they don't have the liquid reserves, it appears, to actually give back to their investors.
In April, Celsius also announced that they had over 150,000 Bitcoins, which is more than MicroStrategy, Galaxy Digital, and Coinbase. And I wonder what the impact may have on the Bitcoin markets because of this, what you say is insolvency coming up.
There's another component to their on-chain behavior, which is they've pledged a lot of their Bitcoin, and specifically WBTC, which is a wrapped version of Bitcoin, a representation of Bitcoin on the Ethereum network. They've pledged a large proportion of their WBTC as collateral, and they've drawn DAI, MakerDAO DAI, a stablecoin, against it. And so essentially they've pledged WBTC as collateral to take a loan, to invest the loan proceeds on behalf of consumers. Now that loan, as of yesterday, was threatening liquidation, and so they've been pledging more collateral to keep their position solvent.
And so what will be the consequence to users?
For now, it seems like in the short term, user withdrawals are suspended. Now, if it is the sum of the on-chain analysis is to believe, ETH and their STETH holdings may not be able to be returned until after Ethereum hard forks for the proof of stake merge. That may not happen for up to 18 months. The timing of that is indeterminate. And so, at least for the time being, users' withdrawals may be impacted. Now, note this doesn't mean that Celsius isn't necessarily, quote unquote, good for the funds long term. It just may mean they might not be able to access that liquidity for quite a long time.
And that is really ultimately the bottom line there. So that's to kind of give you a heads up on what they did, how they kind of got themselves into this position. And I'm going to go back to that because I think it's really, 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 really important to understand what they did, right? Because I think it's important to kind of accept that Celsius was participating in DeFi, right? And we were on AMA after AMA after AMA, right? AMA after AMA after AMA, and they told us, Alex said, we are in DeFi just like you. We have our assets in this space just alongside you, right? Remember that? Always said that, alongside you. Right now, do we know to the full extent what he was doing? No, we just knew he was in DeFi, right? For all we know, he could have been in a single-sided. If you're familiar with DeFi, there's single-sided and there's dual-sided, right? He could have been in a single-sided thing, right? Platform with some Bitcoin, with some Ethereum, with some USDC, where there's no chance of impermanent loss or any of that kind of stuff, right? And not even doing any borrowing. Like, we didn't know, we just knew he was in DeFi, right? He could have been on a single-sided thing over there on Aave, right? And just pledging some ETH and taking the modest 4, 5, 6% returns, 2, 3, 4, 5% returns on the ETH. We didn't know. I didn't know that he was putting collateral up and doing and borrowing against that. Now, I understand the collateral that they're putting up is not just his, it was the platform holders as well. So it's not just his ETH, it was our ETH as well. Right? Now, the goal was to get more yield, right? Figure out better ways to get more yield for us. Right? And what I'm saying is because today, in today's market on the blockchain, access to what he's doing is for the savvy, right? Is available. You can go find out, right? You can go find out. The challenge is most people don't think to look. Most of us don't think to look until the crap hits the fan. Right? Until the crap hits the fan. And so I know some of you are saying, well, they should have never have done that. They should have never have done that with our crypto and our assets, right? But you're the same person, perhaps. Let me put it to a different way. In today's traditional finance, that's exactly what you're doing. You're allowing Wall Street, you're allowing your IRA and your pension and your freaking TSP and your 401k. You're allowing that money to be gambled on Wall Street. That money is gambled on Wall Street. The difference is you don't know it's gambled on Wall Street. They're telling you a different story of what they're doing with their money. Celsius, everything's on blockchain, it's open. Now, did he tell us that he was in DeFi? Yes. Did we know the fine print of that, what he was doing? No, we didn't. Was it available for us to find out? Yes, it was. Try to find out what Wall Street, try to find out what the people with your 401k are doing with your money. I dare you. Try to find it out. It's being gambled. You're going to have to read Pirates of the Manhattan, both 1 and 2 to find out. But the people holding your money aren't telling you that. They got these little buffers of growth funds in between stuff. So you don't know what's really going on. But it's a big time gamble with your money. That is a fact, my friends. It is a big time gamble with your money. No different than what Alex Mashinsky and Celsius have done, except personally, I believe they were looking out for us. That's what I personally believe, that they were looking out for us. I trust Alex Mashinsky in his earnest with trying to look out for us as compared to Wall Street trying to look out for us. That is a no. That is, yeah. I can't even begin to fathom such a thing from Wall Street. You think JP Morgan is looking out for you and I? That's the difference. For me, in the crypto Caesar's home, you have to come to your own conclusion. But for me, that they risk our assets, yes, they participated in DeFi. Did I know that they were doing borrowing against the collateral provided? I didn't know that. I didn't know that they were borrowing, putting up collateral and borrowing. I just know that's what I do when I participate in DeFi, right? I know that I did that, right? I know I've done that on Aave, right? I know I've done that on the Quid protocol, right? On the Banquid protocol. I know that I've done that on several platforms that allow you to deposit and then borrow against it, right? I know I did it. I didn't know to the extent that Celsius Network was participating in DeFi. And again, like one of my mentors says, he says, everything is good until it isn't. Everything is good until it isn't. And Celsius was in an amazing position when the market was great. I don't know if they why they decided to go to that level to do what they did. I do know that they weren't trying to intentionally harm us. And again, for me, the SEC just looked into the books. Just looked into the books of Celsius Network. And they didn't shut them down. They didn't shut them down. Why not? It was less than 90 days ago. Tether says it has liquidated its Celsius position with no losses. What does that mean? Anyway, what does that mean? Does that mean they closed out a loan? It has liquidated its Celsius position with no losses. Yeah, I'm guessing that they had a borrowed a loan, or they had a loan, or whatever, and close it out. I guess that's what that means. But you guys get my point here, right? That's what Celsius did. They participated in DeFi. So they had collateral. Some of it obviously was just Alex, if you will. And some of it was our, right? The assets that we deposit, right? As a community, did we ask them to find more ways to provide yield? Let me go to this article here from Wall Street. Of course, the senator thing, it was a proposal by some lawmakers to prevent the investors from losing their assets if an exchange, quote unquote, goes under. You think that went through Congress? You think that was, you think the Congress people were beating down the doors to get into the voting room to get this passed? Senators propose a law aimed at protecting investors when a cryptocurrency exchange fails. New bipartisan legislation will require that crypto assets be segregated from the assets of digital currency exchanges. A bipartisan duo of U.S. senators introduced a bill that would aim to protect investors in the event that a cryptocurrency exchange files for bankruptcy by ensuring that their digital assets would be held separate. So did this go through? Is this still in the works? Do they consider Celsius a digital currency exchange? Or is it in a different category? What does it include? Lending platforms and along with this? I don't know, but it'd be interesting to see. So this is the word on the street right now. This comes from the Wall Street Journal and some people on crypto Twitter as well. Crypto lender Celsius hires restructuring lawyers after the account freeze. Celsius Network, among the largest crypto lenders, has paused user accounts, citing extreme market conditions. Celsius Network last week told its user it was pausing all withdrawals, swaps, and transfers between accounts. Crypto lender Celsius Network LLC has hired restructuring attorneys from law firm Akin Gump Strauss Hauer and Feld LLP to advise on possible solutions for its mounting financial problems, according to people familiar with the freaking matter. Celsius is first looking for possible financing options from investors, but is also exploring other strategic alternatives, including a financial restructuring. One of the people familiar with the matter said, now everyone seems to think that this is about a bankruptcy and filing a bankruptcy. don't know. A spokesman would not immediately comment from the law firm, and no one from Celsius would comment on it as well. So Celsius is first looking for possible financing options from investors, but is also exploring other strategic alternatives, including a financial restructuring. And one of the people familiar with the matter said, so they're looking to get some financing, possibly from investors. We'll see how that goes. Again, I think the relationships and deep ties that Celsius has and the reputation that Alex has, I think, in terms of building unicorns is undeniable. And I think he's going to lean on that heavily. And this is just me personal. This is not financial advice. This is not me telling you not to participate in class action lawsuits, not to do your own local lawsuits and try to do something personal, financial claim. I'm not saying any of that. You have to do what you feel is best for you and your household. What I am saying is, for me in the crypto CGS home, number one, we've written it off. And if we're blessed with some gravy at the end of it all, cool. But we've written off our XRP, and we will begin again. We will begin anew. The other thing is, if there's a person who could get some financing going on here and done here, I do believe this, Alex Mashinsky. I think that he is, I think he's personally earned it. We'll have to see if people will take a shot and a bet on him. The biggest challenge right now is most investors, they don't understand DeFi in the way that he has, right? And so, yeah, so, Alex is kind of have to probably pay a pretty good penny in terms of financing, right? Certainly not the financing that he's used to and accustomed to getting. But yeah, we'll see. I think that he will get that. And I do think that he's looking at any possible solution before giving in to a bankruptcy. That's me personally. Is it very obvious that there's not enough assets on the platform to meet everyone's withdrawal? To me, that seems like that is fairly obvious. That's what's going on. That's what it feels like to me. And so, I find it interesting, though. There was a tweet from Celsius that they were paying rewards still. And I'm trying to understand that, the rationale behind still trying to pay rewards, not still paying rewards, right? When they're in the midst of this particular situation. So to me that might speak to the fact that, like, if you're about to go bankrupt, why would you be paying rewards, right? Like, it doesn't make sense. Wouldn't you pause rewards? Like, they paused everything except for paying the rewards, which means to me that they have something to pay, right? How can you pay rewards if you don't have it, right? And maybe if and when Celsius does come out of this, and this, don't get me wrong, it's a big if, they'll be able to say that, yeah, they did pause your withdrawals, and they did pause transferring, that's probably what they call it now, transferring, but they did continue to pay your rewards. Look, when and if they do survive this, it's a big uphill battle, because if the market is against them right now, and trust is against them right now, right? I mean, those are two big things. I think that they can recover the trust. The challenge is the market, because the longer there is a lack of trust, the greater, the heavier that lack of trust becomes, if you understand what I'm saying, right? And so because of the market, current conditions in the market, that it's going to be a heavy thing, this lack of trust. And so for them to be able to push that off their backs and get that off their back, that's going to take some big time work. I feel as though people tend to give people a second shot. And I do believe that Celsius is deserving of that second shot. Now, I'm going to get to the for me, the rather, very, very disappointing YouTuber in his actions, you know, for me. And that is Bitboy Crypto. Ben Armstrong on Twitter. You know, I've always held my tongue on Bitboy because I've always given him his props for being a genius marketer, okay? For being a guy who knows how to draw attention and capture your attention. And obviously he's done some things financially, he's done some things well. But I want to have you listen to, this is from 3 or 4 days ago. He was on this channel called Earn Your Leisure. And I want to have you listen to what he said 3 or 4 days ago about Celsius and Alex Mashinsky and what he's saying today and yesterday.
Binance, which is the biggest platform for crypto in the world, paused a Bitcoin withdrawals today for, I believe, 3 hours. So that's something that, you know, other platforms have done that, but Binance, like I said, is the biggest. So it's always concerning when, you know,
absolutely.
They said it wasn't directly related. Correct me if I'm wrong, but they said it wasn't directly related to the crash. But I mean, anybody with common sense can kind of, you know, figure that out. So, you know, that's an issue. That's like going to the ATM machine and not being able to, you know, take your cash out. And that's something that, you know, is concerning to a lot of people. So what's your thoughts on that? And yeah, what would you say to anybody that has questions about that?
Well, I'm much more concerned with what happened with Celsius. I will say that. So Celsius was the biggest staking platform, and yesterday they paused withdrawals. And they basically said in an email to users that we don't have the liquid funds to pay everybody right now, but we will, and we're going to pay everybody back. And Celsius was a company I supported. I liked Alex Mashinsky, a guy who, you know, I think has done a lot of good stuff in the space. That's a lot more money right now than a 3-hour withdrawal on Binance. That's a much larger problem. We've seen this throughout the history of crypto, which is whenever there's high volume spikes, the volume doubled in the last 24 hours.
Yeah.
Whenever there's high volume spikes, they always go down. Mostly because of infrastructure, mostly because actually a lot of these exchanges like Coinbase, like Binance, they don't actually have the infrastructure to honor.
What the hell? Oh my God, come on.
Everything in real time. And so what happens is when there's a bank run or a crypto run in this case, they really just don't have all hands on deck to process everything. And so I wasn't really worried by what happened, but I will tell you what happened with Celsius. It has really made me rethink a lot of my messages to my audience, because we said for a long time, it's okay to hold some money on exchanges that you need to trade. We hold money on exchanges. We actually have some custodial accounts with Gemini, Coinbase, which is a little higher level of custody. But at the end of the day, the phrase we say is not your keys, not your crypto, not your keys, not your Bitcoin. If you don't have your private key, you don't own it. We've got, I think, $3 or $4 million locked up on Celsius right now, and we can't touch it. Carl from the moon, I like to say a lot of these crypto YouTubers are way more rich than I am. I wish I was on their level. He's got 200 million locked up on there. And so it's like, man, that's a lot of money to have locked up. For me, $3 or $4 million is a ton of money. I mean, for your audience, they probably have 5 Ethereum on there, and that's a lot of money. It's a lot of money relative to where you're at. And just understanding that, like, there's a chance I never get that back. I think that I will. I think Celsius will honor everything. I think that I will. But
I think that I will. I think that Celsius will own everything.
That's not for sure, and that's not guaranteed. So you really have to learn what we call self-custody.
But that's not for sure. That's not a guarantee. Right? That's his tone. That's his tone on Earn Your Leisure. I'll check out his tone in the last 10, 12 hours. I know it's a YouTuber that did a video about the class action lawsuit from Celsius, and I'm pretty sure it's because of Bitboy here, right? So let's just go through his tweets. I'm really trying to figure out how Celsius was different than BitConnect, and I'm coming up short. He's just Joshua Browder. I have his tweet here. He says, if you have 10 to 25,000 with Celsius or any crypto exchange that has frozen your funds, here's a step-by-step guide on how to get your money back ahead of everyone else using the law. And here's what I'll say to that. I read through this guy's thread. Okay. And what he's essentially saying is you can start in your local area and you can do like a civil lawsuit. Okay. In fact, let me show you what he says here. If I can find it, hold on. I don't know why my internet does this, but it's pretty crappy. I guess I could have just gone through this thread. Let me do this since I have it here. All right, so there it is. If you got 10 to 25,000 with Celsius, here's the step-by-step guide on how to get your money back ahead of everyone else using the law. Okay. And Joshua Browder is I believe is an attorney, CEO at Do Not Pay, CEO at Do Not Pay, Robin Hood of the internet, according to BBC. Okay. So here it is. As of right now, these exchanges have not yet filed for bankruptcy protection. Therefore, they are subject to small claims court judgments. Small claims court cases typically take 1 to 2 months. As long as this drags on longer than that, this strategy will work. File a small claims lawsuit. The first step is to send a demand letter. The demand letter should say, number 1, how much you are owed. Number 2, why you think you are owed the money. For Celsius specifically, you should mail it, return receipt requested to, right here, he says, after 10 days, when they inevitably don't respond, you can file a small claims court lawsuit in your local jurisdiction. At Do Not Pay can handle the demand letter and filing for you, or you can go to your local website. For example, here is San Francisco's court place. Now, many lawyers will hate on me and say that it's in their terms of service. They can freeze the funds. But if Celsius network does not respond, you win by default. Here's my thinking on this. If Celsius network does not respond, I don't think there's a remote chance of that. However, you have to determine for yourself whether it's whether it's worth it type deal. So I think that they will respond personally, but they are so busy that they aren't going to send an executive to Denver, for example, just for your case. But they don't have to send anyone out though, unless they don't respond in time, and then you go to your court. See what I'm saying? Then you go to your local courthouse. So in any case, they are so busy. I get it. It's true. They're busy. They have bigger problems to worry about: prison, FTC, class action lawsuits, etc. A judge, and here's the other thing, plus a judge might feel sorry for you on the facts. So again, 2 things there. And you know, some courts are very, very pro the enterprise and massively anti the individual. A lot of states like that. I know for sure Virginia is one. Even if they do show up. Yeah. After you win your case with a judgment, surely they don't have the money, right? Question mark. How can you actually get paid? Well, then you have a court judgment. You can go to every bank, every office, even their website domain, and collect your judgment with a collection order. You can force every bank that holds their money to send you what you're owed. To collect, file a collection order with your state small claims court, or use at do not pay. And then it says there, court.state.co, whatever all that crap is. There it is. The more quickly you do this, the higher the chance you will get your money. Once Celsius Networks files for bankruptcy, the lawsuits and collections orders won't work. Until then, this is fair game. Happy Tuesday and good luck. So my question would be out to all the smart attorneys and stuff out there. My understanding is you could go do all of that stuff, but once Celsius files the bankruptcy, it changes it. It doesn't say, right? Once they go into bankruptcy status, they're in bankruptcy status. That's the way I understand it. So again, Jeremy Hogan, John Deaton, and Fred Rispoli, and Bill, the attorney, and Jimmy James, if you guys are listening, let me know on that. But so he says, happy Tuesday and good luck. So that's my understanding of how bankruptcy happens. Like, that's the thing that I'm saying here. By the time it gets to collection, will likely be nothing left to collect on. And if bankruptcy is imminent, pending cases will automatically be stayed. Probably not worth it. Unsecured creditors, which is the retail investor, will end up holding the bag. Great thread that goes deeper into the issues by a law professor who knows what he's talking about. This is this Adam guy, right? So, and I have that one as well. The Adam guy is saying, yeah, you're pretty much out of luck. And what we have decided that is we're pretty much out of luck and we're going to mentally move on. What he is saying that is that, you know, this Joshua Browder is saying, you know, whatever, that you have a shot to go through this claim, small claims, local demand, all that, you know, all of that. And it might be worth it because it's such a small amount. Because what he's saying is that Celsius might be willing to pay, you know, these small account holders. So great advice, says Ben, for little puppies. I wonder what would happen if you decided to do this and Celsius paid you money, and what kind of access would you have to the platform after that? If they recovered, I don't know. There's been, again, Judge Nutbrain may order the SEC to provide the internal documents on Hinman's infamous speech. This is from Rosalind Layton. This was a really good thing. I'll probably cover this on the next video, but she did a really, really great write-up on just the nastiness of the most corrupt organization currently in the government, the United States government, and that is the SEC. She says this could expose the SEC's market deception and force a settlement with Ripple. Ben says, laughing out loud, they are not settling. All right, so here it is again. And 7 hours ago, he said, today we will begin the process of bringing a class action lawsuit against Celsius and Alex Mashinsky. More details in the coming days. If Bitcoin, here again, if banks are evil, Alex Mashinsky is the devil incarnate. Yeah, just said that 7 hours ago. This is the loan advisor for Celsius, Mike GTFO. While you can, Miko, he says, Miko, get the freak out while you can. Most of us don't have the option to get out. Thanks, Alex. Then Celsius said, to clear up any confusion, Celsius Network has nothing to do with the creation of any so-called Cell 2.0 token. Our security team is on alert, and as you all should be, please be vigilant. He says, not your kind of scam, eh? Celsius puts this out. Celsius Network is working as quickly as possible and will share information as and when it becomes appropriate. Acting in the interest of our community remains our top priority. Bitboy says, BS. So let me get this right. The best interest for the community is for you to continue trying to scam users for more money. Celsius puts this tweet out. Celsius Network is working around the clock for our community. It's all hands on deck. So there will be no Twitter spaces this week. No Twitter spaces. Which probably means no AMA on Friday either, right? So there it is, all hands on deck. There won't be an AMA. Will not be an AMA. So he says, Bitboy Crypto says, how are you idiot scammers working around the clock when you turn your live chat off and our account rep won't answer any emails? Might have something to do with the all hands on deck thing. Bitboy says you can't possibly. Well, let me read what this Bitboy Crypto News and AMA says here. So I guess that's just part of Bitboy Crypto. Presumably, how Celsius went insolvent. Celsius currently has a $1.2 billion debt to Aave, along with a $2.5 billion stake ETH collateral. Celsius suffered 2 hacks last year. Celsius did not get hacked last year. Badger DAO 54 million and Stakehound 70 million. They had assets on those platforms, but Celsius Network did not get hacked. Then they went into debt in May of 2022, borrowing 76 million in USDC and 18 million in Compound. Then they went into debt. He said so. Bitboy Crypto says you can't possibly ever support Celsius or Mersinski in any way possible. There's less than a 1% chance, in my opinion, he doesn't face major action from the SEC. Yeah, so this is the same SEC who just looked at his stuff. Again, for me, how does the SEC look into his books and don't see this, what's going? They didn't just enter into a $1.2 billion debt in Aave or $2.5 billion in collateral on staked ETH. My guess is that didn't just happen. This is way before that. That's why they're in the challenge. So if it would just happen, it would, right, it would have been a totally different story. You wouldn't have to be looking at the Bitcoin liquidation prices and Ethereum liquidation prices if it just happened just a few days ago, right? You can't possibly ever support Celsius or Mersinski in any way possible. So my point to that is the SEC knew about these positions, had to have known about these positions. Don't you think? Let me know in the comments what you think about that one. There's less than 1% chance, in my opinion, he doesn't face major action from the SEC. Maybe him and Gensler can do prison time together. He goes on to say, Alex Mashinsky, Celsius Network, and Ronald all understood they were insolvent without question. Let me guarantee you this. When regular crypto folks on Twitter started slowly tweeting about Celsius insolvency over the last few months, the company itself already knew. He's pointing out that Celsius were telling people about the loans that they were having, the promos, and he's saying that they knew that they were insolvent back then. And that is the difference between someone taking personal responsibility for what they've done and as opposed to blaming other people for where they are. And I get it. A lot of us are hurting. It's not easy to admit that most of your XRP, the vast majority, I will probably never see that. It's not easy to admit that, but that is the situation at hand. But I refuse to blame anyone else except for myself for what I've done. Unlike Bitboy Crypto here, who is blaming Alex Mashinsky. So I did write an email out to Celsius. We'll see how they respond to that. But for me, you know, for loan options and some stuff that we can't do to get back our collateral, but I am no way, shape, form, or fashion going to throw shade on Alex Mashinsky personally and the people at Celsius. I have friends who work at Celsius because of tuning into my YouTube channel and end up getting gigs at Celsius. I think that he has always been transparent. And I think that ultimately his objective was always trying to do something right, something good for this community. And so I don't think in any way, shape, form, or fashion has been nefarious. And I think that it's pretty darn disgusting that during difficult times, you want to throw shade on a company and someone and a person who has been doing nothing but trying to do good for the average retail investor. I say, own up, Bitboy Crypto, own up to the mistake that you did, dude. You did it. You weren't complaining when you were getting the rewards. You weren't complaining when they gave you that 1% loan. You weren't complaining then. So own up, dude. You made the mistake. You made, not the mistake, you made the decision. The markets are what the markets are. The markets do what the market does. And you got caught out there. Man up, own up to it, and move on. And quit with throwing shade. It looks childish. It looks petty. It looks like you're not a real dude, my dude. So own up to that. All right, guys, look, I am going to end this video like I do all of my videos. Well, let me do this first. Let me say this wraps up your XRP Ripple Daily News in around 0 to 10 minutes. And I'm going to end this video like I do all of my videos and remind you guys of this. Old money doesn't want you to win. They don't want us to win. They would rather that we remain a cog in their perpetual wheel of trading our time for dollars. They don't want us to play in the same playground that they play in, where we allow our money to work for us. This is our chance to win, guys. The digital asset space is our chance to win. We are in the midst of the greatest transfer of wealth in the history of man. Are you participating? Or are you standing on the sidelines? Here's what I do know. That the battle for you has already been fought. And the victory is yours. Go get it.